What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a different type of video. Today I'm coming to you from my new office. There's a reason to that, but I'm not going to be talking about that today. Now, I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers today. It's an Black American. He's a correspondent for some of these news outlets like Fox News and the likes of them. He's a conservative, let me say, spokesperson. But lately I was watching this particular guy, and just listen to the statement that he made.
People, and I don't agree with him connecting black and brown people. It's a black thing or it's a brown thing. Black and brown people are not congruent in this country. Last time I checked, black people were the only people that were slaves in this country. Now, let's move on. I'm gonna show the video so y'all can see exactly what he said. But I'm gonna make one more comment before I get into this. I do not like the shirt that he's wearing that says African. There is no reason that a black man born in America, generations and generations of Americans, should be wearing a shirt that says Africa. And let me tell you why. I personally have a beef with Africa, and I think that they owe us reparations. Because if it had not been for Mutumbu and them putting us in bondage and selling us to the white man, we would have never probably experienced slavery all over the world. Now, let me move on. I want y'all to hear what P. Diddy said so you can make the assessment for your own or make the assessment your...
Right. Now, this is a guy who's supposed to be fighting for black people's rights, forgetting that there are Africans right there in America with them also trying to fight for black people's rights, for black people's justice. And he went on and said a thing like that and referred to us as Mutumbu and them. Now, seriously, if this guy was any other race, what would we refer to this as? Racism. This is really funny that this guy could refer to us as Mutumbu and them and say Mutumbu. Who the hell is Mutumbu? I don't know who Mutumbu is. But today, basically, I just want to school you and any other American, Black American, or anybody out there who's watching this, who seem to think, or if you were told that you were sold or your forefathers were sold by Africans. If you don't know the full story, take your time and actually research. Let's go back into history. I want to talk a little bit about history. In, I think the 16th century was the first time that the Portuguese, they were the first to actually visit Africa. Right? When they visited Africa as straight people. They correlated with Africans as straight people. But guess what they were doing on the side? They were kidnapping Africans. Africans weren't being sold to them. They were kidnapping Africans. And they took them to Europe. And so when other countries like Spain, England, and co. discovered that they could actually come to Africa and pick people, they came over as well. In the 1600s, they came over. They started also kidnapping Africans. And after a time, they decided, why should we be kidnapping Africans when we can conquer them, colonize them, and utilize them? The idea of selling didn't happen until they colonized Africa. For your information, what happened was the Africans that were selling other Africans were those Africans that were mixed with the foreigners, with the Spanish, with the English. The mixed kids that they had, they brought them back to Africa because Africa was a colony. They installed them as chiefs in various areas. Up until today, the Igbo tribe in Nigeria still refer to their chiefs as number one. This is the title that was given to them by the colonial masters, by the Brits, because they said this is first amongst equal. The number one is not part of our language, but in Igbo land till today, when they name a chief, they always name them the something in the Igbo one, because they got that from the foreign masters. Now, these people that they installed there are those ones that you may liken to the Mandingos and co. They were the ones that were selling the Africans, along with some other chiefs that they had mixed up with. So before this idea of selling Africans came to pass, Africa had already been dominated by the Europeans. They took as many as they possibly could. When they discovered America, they didn't have sufficient bodies to actually work in America. So they came to Africa, their colony, and started picking people. How is this our fault? We stood against them. The Oba of the place I come from, Benin, stood up to the Brits. We fought them. We fought gallantly, but they had guns and we had spears. And guns trump spears anytime, any day. So you having a beef with Africans is nothing short of ignorance. Your problem, and this is the problem we're facing today, is the fact that we all think we are different from each other. We all think, oh, I'm black American, so I'm black. And when you black Americans refer to Africans, you always try to segregate them and separate them from yourself. Tell me something. How is that different from racism? How?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, my brother.
Please, sir, what is the difference between racism and tribalism?
The difference very clear, I understand now. Tribalism is a native racism, while racism is a foreign tribalism.
We need to realize that there's a problem with our race. We need to realize while we're looking at ourselves differently, we are sharing the same problems. We are going through the same oppression, or we've been through the same oppression. You went through slavery, we went through colony, man. Colonizers didn't take it easy on our ancestors. You think people didn't stand up to them over here? It's just so amazing and so ignorant how some of you think. Imagine what he said. He's having a problem with Puff Daddy wearing a t-shirt that says African. Puff Daddy knows this, that he is African. He is African, of African descent. You can call yourself America all you want, American all you want. And yes, you are. I'm not denying that. But you're still being looked at like an African. It's just the way it is. Until you realize this, until we all realize this, we are always going to be complaining, blaming our problems on other people. Of course, some of these problems were caused by other people. But for how long are we going to be playing the blame game? And for how long are we going to be playing the victim? We need to stand up and support each other. Not just when George Floyd situations happen. We need to support each other every single time. We need to trust each other. We need to believe in each other. We are the same, one and the same. The thing is, whether you like it or not, as long as you have this same skin tone, you are looked upon. If your roots are from Africa, you are looked upon the same. As a black, as an African. Don't hate on us. Whether you like it or not, we are all the same. The moment we realize this and we start to lend a helping hand to each other, I think things will start to become different. If we keep saying Black Lives Matter, Black life needs to matter to us, not just when a white kills a black. It needs to matter at all times, in all situations. I'm highly disappointed by you, mister, because it's a big ignorance on your part. You've been misinformed. Anyways, you guys, that's the video for today. I'm really appalled by this, and I just thought I'd talk about it. Maybe I'll make these videos in parts, who knows? But I'll be talking about this topic a little bit more, and possibly the Black Lives Matter movement, and so on and so forth. So if you're really interested in knowing more or having a chat, get down in the comment section below and let me know. I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and until I catch you guys next time, remember to look out for yourself and look out for yourselves. Peace. And I'm out of here.